Hello and welcome. My name is William, and today I wanted to share with you what does it take to prepare for your very first competition, your very first match, if this is something you're about to do. I've started shooting very late in life, at age 35, and also I live in the UK, so this is not something which is very ingrained in the culture. I practiced and trained by myself for a whole year before feeling confident enough to enter the local competitions, and I've shot something around 2,500 rounds before signing up for my first match. And the discipline I've entered is called CSR, Civilian Service Rifle, which is the UK equivalent of high power in the US. On my very first match day, can tell you I was completely overwhelmed. The main challenge I faced, which is the adrenaline, the anxiety you feel before the match, and it's very debilitating. It makes you lose so much of your abilities. It's just crazy. But I think this is not something very human. This is something natural. Whenever someone tells you that, oh, you have an exam tomorrow, your body, your mind's going to automatically react and produce adrenaline and makes you feel anxious, because I guess there's something we've been experiencing since childhood with all these tests and exams, and it never really leaves you. But the key thing before a match, before especially your first match, is to have as little expectations as possible. If I didn't expect anything, just going through the process, it would have been a huge win. Why? Because I would have removed all this burden of anxiety. Unless you have a huge experience prior to that, you're gonna mess up at your first match. This is inevitable, almost inevitable. And just think about it. It is a completely new experience, which is quite complex. You have different courses of fire to memorize, and you have to do this within a very short time. It's normal for the brain to be completely overwhelmed by the amount of information. So the key thing is to reduce the noise. Just, remove any variables, as many variables as you need for now. And anxiety hit me without a miss on that day. And I still remember exactly whatever went wrong. From starts, I had a malfunction. And I always remember my spotter was trying to fix my rifle, and I was shaking because it just, the bolt wouldn't close. I didn't know why. It was just a screw that went loose. And because I don't own any firearms, so I hire rifles from my club, and I don't get the time to check if the firearm is properly functioning, because that should be the work of the armorer at the club. So it didn't happen. And just after that, I was overwhelmed. I lost sight of my target, so I crossfired. I shot someone else's target, so I gave them points and removed some points from my score. What happens next? I forgot the course of fire. So I had to wait, watch what everyone else is doing, so I could just, remember what I should be doing. Then it didn't end here. Because with CSI you have to shoot from distances up to 500 yards. I've completely forgot to adjust the windage in the elevation for one stage. So of course all my rounds went off target. And there's much and much more. Like everything possible that could go wrong just went wrong on that first day. And then, that's the process of entering competitions. You mess up at your first match day, and then you just take notes, and your brain automatically remembers what to pay attention to for the next match. So for example, my goal for the second match was, go through all the things, all the stages, no matter how low I score, but making sure that, for example, there's no malfunction. And if I'm able to finish the day without any malfunction, that's a victory for me. And then I go step by step. Then for the third match day, my aim would be not to forget adjusting the windage and the elevation. So on the third day, if I finish the day without any malfunction and without having forgotten to adjust the windage and elevation, that's a victory for me, and so on and so on. And the thing is, there's no shortcut, in the sense that you have to do it a lot of times for you to be familiar with all these different setups, what to pay attention to, and for finally the anxiety to completely reduce to the point where when you start your a match day, you don't feel anxious or stressed at all. You know what you're going to do, you know what is going to happen or not, or what can go wrong actually, but you have things under control basically. And to reach this stage, I think I had to wait until mid-season. So it was only after 6 months. So 6 match days, 3 matches, sometimes 2 matches each day, before me feeling familiar and comfortable enough for me not to feel any anxiety. And once you reach that stage, this is when you can start having fun, because you can challenge yourself at other things. You can think about actually what makes you aim better, what makes you shoot better. And this is when I properly started to focus on, working on my technique, my stance, my grip, my trigger control, and experimenting what makes me score more, what makes me score less. So to sum up, I would say set yourself very modest expectations, but make sure that you are accepting that things will go wrong on your first match day. If it doesn't, it's a very good surprise. All more reasons to be happy about it. But if you think, let's say, for example, that on your first match day, your goal is not to forget the course of fire, or not to forget to do X, Y, and Z, and you're just able to do that one thing on that first day, that's amazing. Then you can progress. And the more you progress, the more boxes you will tick until you become family and comfortable enough, you can experiment and actually work on improving your marksmanship skills and rising through the rankings. And that's what happened, in the span of a few matches. I remember I started shooting, and my first scores were like 55, 65. And a few months later, I was able to reach the 85, 90, 95. And I just couldn't believe it. But, it's just natural. The more you practice, the better you become at something. And while we worry about our scores, also, I think the most important thing to remember, and I say this to myself, is that I am not in competition with others. The only person I'm in competition with is my past self. The only question I ask myself is, am I going to do better than at my previous match? And that's all that matters. And because my intention is not to beat others. I know I'm not competing at professional level where my income depends on my score and how many competitors I beat, but my intention is really to improve myself as a shooter. So for me, the main mission is at a given match to do better than what I did previously. If I am able to improve my shooting technique even by 1%, that's a victory. That's amazing. Well, this is what I wanted to share. I hope it was useful. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay safe out there.